What's up guys, this is Tony with Salt Strong, and I wanted to share a quick tip if you notice that your braided line, your main line, is getting twisted up. And you'll notice it being twisted if the line doesn't look nice and smooth. If it looks like it has a spiral sort of appearance to it, then it's twisted up, and that can lead to wind knots and issues, and also casting issues as well. So first thing you want to do is make sure your lure is rigged up properly. If your lure is not straight and streamlined, what's going to happen is while you're retrieving it, it can start helicoptering and flipping and spinning in the water, and that's going to cause some line twist. So definitely make sure your lure is rigged up nice and straight. As you can see here, I have this mulligan paddle tail, 4-inch mulligan paddle tail, rigged up nice and straight. There's no kinks in it, and it moves nice and straight in the water and doesn't spin. Now, if you do notice you have a lot of line twist, it would be ideal to get rid of that because, like I said, it's going to affect your casting, and also it can cause some wind knots. So one thing you could do that works really well is take your lure off. So it's just your line. You just have your leader on there and the line, and you're going to start trolling either with the trolling motor, or you can use your bigger engine and idle, but you're just going to start trolling and letting all that line out behind the boat or behind your kayak, whichever one you have. So I'm just going to lay that line in the water. The resistance of the water is just going to naturally start pulling that line, and usually the entire spool is not going to be twisted up. You know, only about maybe 50 yards to 75 yards of that line actually sees daylight, so everything underneath isn't really going to be twisted up. Now, another thing this helps with is if your line is really tight on the spool. Let's say you've caught a lot of fish, you have a lot of pressure on that spool from the drag, and the line has dug into itself. What this will help is loosen that line up, you know, get all that line unstuck. As you can see, it's starting to stick a little bit, and if your line is like that on the spool, that can cause some issues with casting distance. So just let that line out behind the boat. No lure on there, so you don't have to worry about your line spinning or anything like that. And we're going to do a little bit more. You could do the entire spool if you really wanted to, but we're just going to let out just enough that it's pretty much only the line that actually, you know, sees daylight. So now, as you can see, there's a good amount of resistance on the line, so you don't even really have to hold it with your fingertips. Just start reeling it in, and that should eliminate a good amount, if not all, of that twist in your braided line. So when the end of your line gets closer to the rod tip, you're going to notice less resistance. That's when you can use your fingers to add a little bit more resistance on that line. Start bringing it in. So there you go. As you can see, that spool looks nice and flat. You know, the line looks nice and straight, no curves in it, no twists in it, no kinks or anything like that, and you are good to go. Tie your lure back on and start fishing. Now, I'm actually out here on the water today filming an insider report for our insider members, which is basically an on the water fishing report, which shows, you know, why I picked the spots that I picked based on the conditions, the trends, and the patterns. So if you're interested in seeing reports like that to help you start catching more fish, highly recommend checking out our insider club at saltstrong.com/pricing and see if you're a fit for our insider club, and we guarantee you'll start catching more fish. So that will wrap up this video. If you have any questions or comments or any additional tips to help with line twist, definitely drop them down below.